Welcome to Fantasy Football Today in 5. I'm Chris Towers here with Dan Schneier to talk about what actually might end up being arguably the most important waiver wire week of the season. We've talked a lot this season about how bad the waiver wire options have been, and I'm not saying this is a great week of waiver wire options, but with so many running back injuries across the NFL heading into week 13, there's just so much to talk about. So we're going to start off right there. Christian McCaffrey out for the season. The Panthers placed him on IR on Monday with another ankle injury. Dalvin Cook will also miss at least 2 weeks with a shoulder injury. The hope is they can have him back for week 15, the start of the fantasy playoffs for those of you who are in a 3-week playoff situation. But obviously, given his injury track record, he's dealing with a torn labrum now in both shoulders this season. That is certainly a concern. And then we learned later on Monday that Darrell Henderson is dealing with a quad strain that could put him in jeopardy for week 13. Plus, Deebo Samuel, he's technically a wide receiver, but, he's been playing a lot of running back. He might miss at up to 2 games with a groin injury, but it looks like it's at least one. He's week to week. So let's start off at running back with the waiver wire targets. And I think the place you have to start is Alexander Madison. He is only available in 22% of CBS fantasy leagues, but if he's available in your league, are you dropping every bit of fab you have left, no matter what the number is, to make sure you end up with Alexander Madison?
So I think with Madison, there's some varying reports right now on Cook's injury. Some Meg Zimmer himself, who's obviously going to have coach speak, seemed optimistic about the injury. So you don't have as much of a guarantee as you have with McCaffrey and Hubbard. But what you do get is the better offense. You want to be in this Vikings offense. There are more scoring opportunities. They block really well in that zone run blocking game. And a lot of backs, including Madison, have proven success behind that. So I am actually to the point, Chris, where we've gone, 12 weeks until now saying we haven't really had a fun free agency with the exception of Cordell Patterson. Go for it. If you are lucky enough to be in a league that isn't stashing the Madison and Pollard types, I would say use, honestly, up to 90% of your budget. Go enough so you beat the guy you think's in contention for him, and if you have more free agent budget than
him. Yep, absolutely. I think Alexander Madison, he started 4 games with Dalvin Cook injured. I believe he left one of them with an injury of his own 2 years ago, 2019. That was the Mike Boone 2-touchdown game. But in the other 3 games, Alexander Madison has had at least 20 carries in all 3 of them. I think he's had at least 145 scrimmage yards in 3 of them. So,
and a consistent role in the pass game.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, this is absolutely the kind of league winning player who usually isn't available this time of the season. So if he's available in yours, absolutely do everything you can to make sure you get him. I'm less sure about Chuba Hubbard because what we've seen, Amir Abdullah has actually outsnapped Chuba Hubbard in all but one of the games that they've played together. The first game that Abdullah played in was the only one. And he played 2/3 of the snaps after McCaffrey left week 12. Now, that was a blowout. They were in pass first mode with the backup quarterback in, so don't take too much away from that. But I just don't know if the situation is going to be as good for Chuba Hubbard as you might think with Christian McCaffrey. And I'm also just going to pull up this playoff schedule because it really gets tough for the Panthers. They're on a bye in week 13, so obviously not going to get anything from them there. Falcons in week 14, then at Buffalo versus the Buccaneers, at the Saints. That might be the 3 toughest running backs opponents that a player can face, and that's in weeks 15 through 17. So not exactly ideal for Chuba Hubbard. So if Alexander Madison isn't available and you need a week 13 replacement option, here are the top targets according to Jamie Eisenberg. Boston Scott, 38% roster. Jamal Williams, 55%. And Sony Michel, 41%. Who would be your top priority for week 13?
I think after Madison, it would be Sony Michel for me for week 13. I think you laid out a good case for why I'm cautious when it comes to Hubbard. There's other reasons I'm cautious with Hubbard, and I did not like what I saw from Cam Newton. Miami Dolphins committed to blitzing and playing man coverage, and it looked like Cam had zero answer for that style of defense. And I don't know right now if he's the type of quarterback who can handle a team that's going to blitz and play man against him the way he's throwing the football. So I'm scared for that offense. The offensive line's been trending down. So for me, I will put, maybe a potential 1-week rental like Michelle over him.
All right. Yeah, I'll also throw Jamal Williams. I just think, if DeAndre Swift's out, and it sounds like he probably will be, I could see Jamal Williams having 20 carries and 6 targets this week. That really wouldn't surprise me with the way they've used their running backs. Let's move on to quarterback, where Taysom Hill looks like he's going to start for the Saints finally. in week 13. He is dealing with a bit of a foot injury, but he practiced in full on Monday. He's got the Cowboys on Thursday. What are your expectations for Taysom Hill?
I have strong expectations for Hill. I'm a big fan of Hill's game when it comes to fantasy. And I think one of the biggest aspects of his game, if he's fully healthy, and we'll see that, we'll learn this week, is that he's really hard to tackle in the red zone. As a runner, he is really difficult to tackle. I watched firsthand against the Giants, 3 people tried to tackle him, they didn't get him. He's a tough runner. He's fast. He's physical. And because of that role in the run game between the 20s and in the red zone, it gives him such a high floor. I know we've been saying that we said that last week about Cam Newton, I should say. But I think Taysom Hill has a little bit of a different situation going for New Orleans.
All right, so you would rather have Taysom Hill than Cam Newton?
Yes, I would definitely rather have Taysom Hill than Cam Newton.
All right, who would you rather have at wide receiver if you need one? Kenny Golladay or Josh Reynolds?
Hope it doesn't sound like a homer pick, but I am going with Kenny Golladay. The squeaky wheel did get greased to some extent, at least to the extent of how this Giants passing game can function right now, which seems to be 200 yards, but he had 50 of them. And if they were playing from behind, I think he would have had more. I think he's going to continue to be a heavy targeted player in that offense. He even got a couple targets in the red zone, which are key. So I'm going to go with Golladay.
All right, and if you need a tight end for week 13 and maybe beyond, who would you rather have? Logan Thomas, who had 3 catches for 31 yards on 6 targets, very nearly, probably should have had a touchdown right there at the end of the game, or Foster Moreau with Darren Waller dealing with a knee strain?
This is actually a tough one for me. I think the more long-term view might be Thomas, but I really like Foster Moreau's game. I've liked it since LSU. He's overcome a major injury, and I think that offense is designed to get easy looks to tight ends because they have Darren Waller as a key piece. So when he is removed from the lineup, the next man up is going to get some of those routes. So I like Moreau.
All right. That's going to do it for us on Fantasy Football Today. For more on the Waiver Wire, make sure you check out the full episode of Fantasy Football Today on Tuesday morning. We'll see you next time. Bye.